Now I've got B. Arthur behind me, different part of the wall. I really need to wash my hair, my bangs, look and feel a little bit greasy. Um, so it's been, um, I just totally gapped out because then I started thinking about the Bare Naked Ladies. I'm Canadian, so um, Canada has because Bare Naked Ladies are Canadian, and I remember when their big first album was called Gordon, which is a very Canadian name. His name was Terry, like for a guy. Apparently, that's a really Canadian name that a lot of other countries don't have like a ton of Terrys, but like Terry's a really common like older man kind of name. Like my father-in-law is named Terry. Yeah, so just thinking about the Bare Naked Ladies. But what I was gonna say is, it's been, um, I guess, uh, a week and a half since my diagnosis. Um, it's Saturday, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the pharmacy finally and pick up everything that I need for my injection education appointment on Wednesday. So, and like my pharmacist knows me by name. Like he sees me and he's like, "Oh, hey Tracy," and I'm like, "Oh, hey Don." There's a very other like Canadian male named Don, Don, Donald. Like that's my dad's name. That was my grandfather's name, and I think like a couple other in the Coulter line go back as Donalds, but maybe it's a really common name elsewhere as well. Anyway, he knows me really well, and I was like, "Oh, I was picking up my methotrexate. It was called in." He was like, "I haven't seen it." And I was like, "Oh, well, like it's not um like filled for. I'm like sort of filling it now, but it would have been sent over by fax." He's like, "Oh yeah." So he goes, looks in my file. He's like, "We literally have nothing. Who's even the doctor giving this?" And so I told him my doctor's name, and he's like, "I'm gonna have to give her a call on Monday because we have nothing." But he's like, "You call too and see what's up." And I'm just like, I'm really glad because my plan was wait till Tuesday, pick up the stuff. Like I have to get the actual methotrexate, needles, rubbing alcohol, or like alcohol pads. Like the rubbing alcohol and cotton balls or alcohol pads will probably go with rubbing alcohol and cotton like pads because I think or cotton balls because I think there's a lot of waste with like alcohol swabs. Like you gotta open up a little package. It just seems it's a little excessive. Just to have it pre-moistened, I can do that myself. Um, and hanging behind us, if you're like, what's up with the Blair Witch shit behind her head? That's garlic from our garden. That's drying. It's very dried, but it's just like an easy way to store it. So it's just hanging there. Yeah, so like I have to get the methotrexate, the needles, cotton balls, rubbing alcohol, folic acid, and I think that's it for it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I have like a whole kit that I give out." I'm like, "Okay, awesome, it's amazing." So yeah, we're gonna have to call it. I'm so glad I didn't wait. I was just gonna be like, "Oh, I'll just get it the day before. Why would I have it hanging around my house before I need it? Like that doesn't make sense." So glad about that because that would have been like one more stressful thing. As it is, it's already stressful that I'm like, why isn't it in there? What did they do? Um, so yeah, I guess I'll call Monday morning. Call Monday morning, deal with that. Tuesday, I have my allergy shot. But we're back up to the full dose. Every time, I don't know if anyone of you have like do allergy shots, but once you're at the maintenance dose, like you take the 5 milliliters every month. But then when you get a new vial, like when that one runs out and you get a new vial, the beginning you have to go back down to half. You have to go back down to 2.5 because it's fresher and it's more potent. So you can't just start at the 5.0 or you'll have like a massive reaction, ostensibly. So I'm back up now. I went through it all. So I guess from, yeah, October to now, every week I've gone back up. So I'll soon be just doing my allergy shots like do this week, then I go 2 weeks, 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 3 weeks, and then every 4 weeks, which will be great because going for an allergy shot once a week sucks. Any of you who do it, I like solidarity. It sucks. It's such a time suck. Like it's such a time commitment. They're not cheap. Like my maintenance dose is like $176 per year, which isn't like a ton, but for something that may not work, and mine doesn't seem to be working, I've spent over the years about $1,000 on it. So that's not great. I think I get some of it back um, through my husband's insurance, but a lot of people wouldn't. They would just be like totally out of pocket. Um, yeah, so that kind of sucks. Um, but yeah, so I have that on Tuesday, and then I have this injection training on Wednesday, and I hope they don't want me to actually do my first injection there because I want to do it on Friday. Everyone I've talked to is like, do it like Friday afternoon is kind of ideal because then Saturday you're like feel kind of crummy, and then most of Sunday you're feeling okay, and then you're sort of good to go on Monday. And I mean that's very smart. Like whoever told me that, and a couple people told me that, clever. Like make it work for you. You've got to live your life. Two, that fucking sucks because like, oh, you know how we're gonna prioritize your work. Your work you have to keep sacred. Don't be sick on your work. You couldn't possibly take those days off. You have to use your time off um, to feel awful. Don't feel awful on company time. I mean, I say this as someone who works for themselves, so it's like totally moot. But for people who like, have other kinds of jobs where they work for a company, yeah, the idea is like, of course, don't be sick on your days that you're working. Heaven forfend that you possibly feel sick and take the time off as opposed to your weekends. Like that's not even a thought. Like most people are like, of course you would take the weekend. And that just sucks. Like I just want to say that sucks. Because honestly, what do people do on their days off? What did I do? I ran a ton of errands, cleaned my house as much as I could, caught up on things. Like you have to sort of like the things you have to do to live your life. Yeah, preparing for the week. Like I know because I am trying to not eat any like we call them sweaty meats, but like any processed like sandwich meat, because apparently that is something that can be quite inflammatory for people with inflammatory arthritis. So I want to try to cut that out. So what I did was I got some tenderloins, pork tenderloins, and I'm going to cook them as I usually do, and then like save them for sandwiches throughout the week. And I think that'll be very clever of me. Um, but like I need to do that this weekend. And so like is there really, I guess what I'm trying to say is there actually really any such thing as time off? Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves. That seems very debatable to me. Yeah, that's where I'm sitting. Glad I went today to go get the prescription, find out it's not there. So then I have time to call on Monday. They have time to send it over. Dawn has time to make the kit up, whatever. Amazing. And then I can pick it up on Tuesday, now as planned, for my Wednesday. But I think they want me to bring, specifically, I think they want me to bring the needles in so that I know how my needles work. Because I get to learn how to, inject myself. Which lots of people over the years have done. Like when I think about anyone living with diabetes where they do injections, or they do, like blood. I don't know, do they still do that, like the finger prick test? I remember someone in school, like I have this now memory of somebody in my class, I think in elementary school, was doing like, who was living with diabetes and brought in like their stuff so that like as some kind, not necessarily like a show and tell, but like for some project, I think is what they ended up doing. And they asked a couple of us to volunteer to do the blood sugar glucose thing. And I remember being like, son of a bitch, that hurt. Because it's your fingertip. Like, there's a lot of nerve endings in these buddies. Um, and then like just like the well of blood. I was just like, I'm totally fine with blood, but just like that was unnecessarily painful. And matter of respect that you do this maybe like throughout your day. I think that's all I have to say. Whew, with some rambly times. What did we talk about? Where my prescription's at? Bare naked ladies. Because we all know, every time I think of the words, it's been 1 week since you looked at me, whatever. I don't know what the rest of the words are. I heard a theory, someone's like, dark web theory, is that if you look at the lyrics, you can read them as this guy has murdered his partner and the corpse is just sitting in his apartment. I don't think that's true. I definitely don't think that's what the bare naked ladies like their intention. Though there's things that happen with art that artists don't intend, and that's part of the process. So maybe that person's never gonna talk to you again because you killed them. Okay, I think we're good. I think we covered, keeping it really focused on the disease and diagnosis, keeping it really focused here. Very good for me. Okay, I'm probably going to make another video after Wednesday, after my appointment. I'm definitely going to make a video um, if and when I start feeling side effects, just to sort of give myself some time to process that as well as have a record of how it's going. Okay, have a great whatever.